Common reasons for business restructuring. The world is rapidly changing. Executives attempt to keep up by putting their best ideas in the structures, systems, and processes required to compete. The most efficient, innovative, and agile business structures will provide the efficiencies, creativity, and agility needed to prosper. The purpose of organizational transformation is to connect your company's culture, design, and personnel with your strategic goals. But first, if you are new here, consider subscribing to this channel to continue receiving great weekly videos on consulting. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you can get informed every time I publish a new video. Purchasers' rights under and concerning these resources have been terminated, restricted, and impaired. Thus, when a firm has trouble making debt payments, it will frequently consolidate and change the loan terms in a debt restructuring, allowing bondholders to be paid. A business can also reorganize its operations or structure by decreasing expenditures such as payroll or shrinking its size by selling off assets. Here are some reasons for restructuring a company. Business environment has changed. The only constant in today's corporate world is changing. Companies that refuse to adapt to the evolving conditions risk seeing their product lines become obsolete. Firms are constantly experimenting with new products, venturing into new markets, and reaching new clients. Companies aim to diversify into new areas to grow sales and capacity while eliminating divisions that bring little value to essential competencies. Reorganization is required for all of these initiatives. Expansion into a foreign market, for example, may entail adjustments in worker profiles and working conditions to better connect with the international market. Starting a new product line may necessitate changes to the work structure, the recruitment of new specialists experienced with the business line, the placement of these specialists in positions of power, and other processes. While removing underperforming or superfluous business areas may necessitate changes, the primary business may choose to keep specific components of such divisions. Downsizing. Downsizing the staff is a common rationale for restructuring a corporation. Because of the changing nature of the economy, the company may need to adopt new tactics or change its product range, which may necessitate the layoff of personnel. Similarly, fierce rivalry and margin pressure from low-cost competitors may compel the organization to implement lean methodologies, just-in-time inventories, and other cost-cutting and process efficiency initiatives. In these kinds of circumstances, the company will have to rework the project. To ensure that the remaining personnel can function successfully, rewrite job descriptions, restructure its team, group, and communication structures, and restructure its reporting connections. Unfortunately, restructures caused by downsizing result in a flatter organization structure and enlarged job requirements and responsibilities. Workplace innovations. Traditional organizational structures and controls are designed for office and factory work from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Subcontracting, teleporting, and flex schedules are examples of new approaches that necessitate new systems, policies, procedures, and cultural shift demands entail organizational restructuring. Because of telecommuting employees, temporary staff, and hiring foreigners, performance management parameters, salary, and perks may need to be drastically revised. For example, newer work practices may necessitate a focus on results rather than processes and more flexible reports. Gaps in performance. If your organization goals and objectives aren't being met, you'll need to make some adjustments. After you've found the gaps, the following step is to determine what might be causing them. Internal inefficiencies are frequently the cause of cracks. For instance, there is a lack of communication and coordination between departments. Internal operations can be reviewed and adjusted to handle this type of problem. New approaches to ownership. Traditional management science supports highly centralized operations and a command and control strategy for senior management. Human resources are a crucial driver of strategic advantage in the new behavioral approach to management, which focuses on empowering employees and giving line managers thoughtful latitude in running day-to-day operations. Top management is solely involved in defining strategy and monitoring compliance. Strategic business divisions operate independently. Traditional management structures were administrative and oppressive. However, flatter organizations with broader duties and duties for each team member have recently been deemed wise by management experts. Job flexibility, expansion, and enhancement are significant characteristics of such new structures, but their adoption necessitates modifications in the organization's communication and reporting systems. Thus, while new firms might start with these new paradigms, existing firms must restructure to remain competitive by adhering to these quality standards. Quality management. Due to competitive pressures, most firms must assess the quality of the product and services and use developing states such as Six Sigma and process improvement, rather than maintaining a separate quality control department to determine whether or not to accept outputs depending on quality criteria. Most current quality apps attempt to include quality into the objective work process. Quality interventions are typically preceded by an organizational level audit, which identifies inefficiencies in the organizational structure that may be preventing quality from being achieved in the first place. Reduced waste, for example, necessitates the abolition of specific procedures and, as a result, the reallocation of workers who do such tasks. Technology. Technology, work procedures, materials, and other business-related issues may necessitate reorganization to keep up with the times. For instance, consider corporate resource management, which uses information technology to connect all of an organization's systems and procedures, which may necessitate a total revamp of the methods and techniques at the start. This type of technological change could be part of a business process engineering project, which involves redesigning firm procedures to optimize potential and value while decreasing everything else. If this is not done, the company's operations and practices may become old-fashioned and out of step with the times. Acquisitions and mergers. Acquisitions and mergers are commonplace in today's corporate world, where survival of the fittest is the guiding concept, and mergers almost always precede a restructuring operation. Various causes can be linked to the restructuring that occurs as a result of mergers and acquisitions. Some of the most common reasons are as follows. People coordinated the merging organization's processes and procedures to guarantee that the new individual's approach is consistent. Work or system duplication, such as two-people management or budgeting process, should be eliminated. They are incorporating the new owner's tastes and more. Furthermore, joint ventures may involve definite advantage, specific mission groups, or a new subsidiary. Issues concerning business. Small and medium-sized enterprises frequently have commercial decision-making and informal structures and assigning responsibility. When such organizations grow and require further funding, venture capitalists and regulations may need a more professional organization replete with documented policies and systems. A publicly traded company may restructure to boost efficiency, uncover hidden potential, and show higher earnings to attract new investors. To avoid the enormous cost of formal insolvency, companies may try to restructure outside of court. Legal and statutory compliance. Restructuring might be a necessary evil when it comes to meeting legal or legislative obligations. Financial services, space institutions that deal with sensitive personal information. The government, for example, may mandate companies to monitor their computer networks. In addition, a new bill may require commercial computer networks to use the same security procedures as government networks to avoid legal liability in the event of a cyber attack. Finally, any organizational reorganization is, at its core, a change project. Overcoming change resistance requires convincing the current workforce of the need for change and the possible advantages, and implementing an effective communication plan that describes the process of change. Purchases. The reorganization effort may sometimes be the product of the owner's whims and preferences. For example, the corporation may have a new owner who wishes to instill power and style in the group. The restructuring allows the new owner to reshuffle key personnel and gives responsibility to loyal lieutenants, start with a clean slate and impose greater control, and among many other factors, foresee any inefficiency that drove the previous owner to sell out. Regardless of whether or not there is a change of ownership, firm owners may hire a management consultant to assess the organization and advise on macro-level improvements as a routine exercise. Alternatives. Many firms still rely on a substantial amount of manual work to manage their business operations and handle current difficulties. Despite technological developments and a focus on automation, tools that are still regularly used include Excel, PowerPoint, and basic charting programmers. However, these instruments are ineffective and they restrict business from adapting to changing market conditions. As a result, enterprises suffer severe productivity losses, slower executive decision-making, and erroneous data and information. Companies confront numerous challenges to deal with the constant changes in today's market, and company restructuring can be both a short-term and long-term solution to ensuring firm survival. Whether corporate restructuring aims to rescue the firm or place it for the future strategically, economic advisors can assist business owners in dealing with these complex challenges. They can, for example, develop communication networks and promote considerably better information exchange among businesses, technology providers, academics, authorities, and other industry stakeholders. However, manufacturing innovation is tightly tied to macroeconomic policies, trade obstacles, competitiveness concerns, training, education, energy, regulatory activities, public infrastructure, capital cost, and availability. In addition, there are various other external aspects and policies, even if it is highly effective. If you liked the video, give us a like to make more videos like this one, and tell us in the comment section below what type of videos you want. Lastly, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more weekly videos.